Welcome to Platform Media International Sports. We're back again in the studio for the daily previews and reviews of the events in Qatar 2022. My very good friend, Opponent Yanaba is the studio. Opponent, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Before the World Cup, Opponent, many anxieties and many interpretations. People, especially the Western press, have raised a lot of issues about Qatar, whether Qatar would be a good host, whether Qatar will present a good platform for world stars to showcase their talents. Opponent, given what we have known in the past 1 week, let's see what happened, what has happened in Qatar. The stadium, 8 stadia that's hosting the events. The first one is Al-Bayt Khalifa International Stadium, Mama Stadium, Ahmed bin Ali Stadium, Lusail Stadium, Stadium 974, Educational City Stadium, and the last but not the least, Al Janoud Stadium. Opponent, we are not be able to visit all the stadium, but of course you see it on television. Has it met all the standards of the World Cup as it was in the past?
Yes, I think it always have met up the standard.
And the grounds, the stadium, apart from that, if you see it, the one behind me right here is a masterpiece. So it is not the case that it has not met up to standard. What about the ground with the turf which footballers are playing football? Is there any different from other stadiums that hosted the World Cup?
Well, it's not different. It made a standard for them to use stuff they are using there must be approved by FIFA. So I don't think there's many shortcoming there.
So is it fair with the fears? Has it been fair to the Qataris government about the issue that Western press have raised, whether Qatar will be able to host? There are many issues that was raised. First of all, they're saying the place will be too hot. I have not heard anybody complain about the temperature. I understand the stadium will be fully air conditioned, but nobody has complained about fatigue. In 1994, Maradona criticized FIFA for bringing players to play in the heat of Texas, in the heat of Massachusetts, Foxborough Stadium. He was saying that the players' heart would get busted because of the heat in the United States. But no player has complained about the heat in Qatar.
Well, that's why the World Cup was shifted from June to now, right? Because because of the temperature. But you see, the Western world always complain when it's not about them, when they're not in the center stage. They always want everything to be about them, and that's the problem. You complain about the stadium. What's wrong with the stadium? We've seen the crowds there. We've seen it off. We've seen pitches. Everything is okay. Just the Western world like to complain when it's not about them. That's the reason they gave it to Qatar.
Opponent, again, let's go to the human angle. Qatar has raised issue about the sexual nature of the Western world. Perhaps they said they are very intolerant against about homosexuals, what you call LGBTQ community in the Western world. Qatar said that will not be tolerated. As well, for some players, including Harry Kane of UK, wanted to wear an armband in support of LGBTQ community. Now, I know that the goalkeeper of France, Hugo Lloris, also was a guest that he said players should go and play what they are asked to do and not be involved in politics. He also went ahead to say, if anybody come to France, they will obey the laws of France. So let's go to Qatar, play football, and obey the laws of Qatar. Do you think that was a fair assessment?
Yes, that was not just a fair assessment, it was a perfect assessment. Give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. You know what these people are before you give them the World Cup to host. Why do you want to go and change? Why do you want to go and change them? You want to go and do football, the venues, avenues, all those things will be provided. There are certain things that will not be that cannot be changed there, and we have to respect those things. Qatar is a very deep cultural place. Before the World Cup is given to Qatar, you know how the culture of the Qatari people. You know how the Qataris are. Why we have complained now? Why should the Qataris change their culture just to host the World Cup? Yes, certain things can be changed, but they don't have to change that. We have to let's just respect them. Like Ugo Lori said, we're going there to play football. Let's go play football and leave politics out of this.
But
That was very
in a way, politics cannot be separated from sports. There are so much politics in sports. So it's a global sport. I think what people who voiced against intolerance of LGBTQ in Qatar is saying that people should be treated nicely and be fair to people who belong to that community. But Qatar
I
isn't
don't.
that way.
Yes, but I don't think I agree. I agree to that. Let me comment. Let me give an analogy here. The Qatari women they put on scarf or a veil to cover their heads. Is that correct?
Yes, they do.
If they are hosting a World Cup in France or hosting a World Cup in Germany, is it fair for the Qatari people when they come there to say the women in Germany or the fans in Germany should put on a veil or a scarf to cover their head because they do cover their head?
It won't be fair.
It won't be fair. So, we're just talking about visiting. This is the culture of the people. They are bringing visitors into their country, yes, but they cannot just go and change everything in Qatar. Yeah, we cannot separate politics from sports or sports from politics. But certain things, certain political aspects should be separated. Even the German representative that was in Qatar put on the armband.
Do you think the West is
president?
You think the West is trying to force their standard on other countries?
Yes, they're not force, they're trying to impose their decision on other people. And
whether it is fair or not to those people that is strange to, right?
Yeah, that's not fair. When Germany hosted the World Cup, they have their own rules, and you have to go there, you have to obey. Okay, let's put it this way. Germany hosts the World Cup. United States, Canada go to Germany. Are we going to tell the Germans that everything at the airport must be written in English? No. You can't change everything. You have to respect the people, respect the place where you are going to. They want to host the World Cup. That doesn't mean those people should lose everything they have. That's why the World Cup goes there. So we learn something from that part of the world. When it goes to Eastern Europe, we learn something different. If it goes to Western Europe, we learn something different. If it goes to Africa, we learn something different. If you go to South America, we learn something different. So don't go and change the people. Let them be who they are. Let us learn from those people about their culture or their religion or whatever goes. So let's learn. That will help us to communicate. That will help us to deal with people easily. We don't just have to go to different places to study. But now, for now, that the World Cup is there, let's go there, enjoy it, abide by the rules, what they provide, and just leave it at that. You're not going to die. You're not going to cost you anything.
And of course,
that's just a way of life.
I think to reinforce what you're saying, of course, they knew when they gave them the host. I'm sure Sir Blatter and Platini, they are suffering for that bold move to give the host to Qatar. They have not. They are still suffering from that. As a matter of fact, I know that funds they collected bribe before they gave that to Qatar. But again, it's a global sport. I think this hosting of this global sport every 4 years should be spread across the globe. As long as that country is ready to host, I think FIFA is justified to give it to them if they are ready to host. I mean, in 2010, it was in South Africa. 2014, went to Brazil. 2018 was in Russia. I think that's what it makes it a more global sport and acceptable to all. But this one, I'm lost why there's a selective amnesia in terms of you're not selective amnesia. You want to impose your values on other people, and that's what I don't understand.
Yeah, because sometimes the West think they're better than everybody. That's just the problem. Now we talk about maybe they took bribe to give it to Qatar. You see, that's insanity. When you look at it from that angle, that's insanity. To host the World Cup, you have to invest in it. You have to invest in it. If you talk about politics, you have to invest in it. You want to be a doctor in life, you have to invest in it. You want to be an engineer, you have to invest in it. Qatar invested in it. That's what it is. They invested in it. They were given the right to host. Everybody hosting the World Cup invest in it. So when people complain that maybe there's kickback for Qatar to host the World Cup, let it be. Everybody is done all over the world. How do you get the right to host the World Cup? You lobby. True or false?
And lobbying involves money, right? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. You invest in it.
Okay. Oh boy, look at it. Even the FIFA president Infantino also said when this serious criticism came from the Western media to say, if we begin to criticize everybody, the West should be apologizing to the rest part of the world in the next 3,000 years. Do you think, in fact, the FIFA president for being that bold, his presidency as FIFA is almost gone? Do you think there will be repercussions for that?
No, not necessarily, because the voting bloc doesn't belong just to the Europeans only, right? Now you see the West is shouting and crying. US was in the bid for this World Cup. Remember that, but they lost to Qatar, right? So
England too was bidding for that.
England too was bidding. You have 1 million stadiums doesn't mean you're going to have the right to host. That's why they want the thing to go around so people can know about the game all over the world. That's the purpose of like pushing it to different areas for people, for different continents to host, so that people around the world, even in little areas, can see. But if the West think everything should be about them, that's not fair. I'll give you an example. Look at the West has forced Africa to change their football calendar to the Western calendar, to the European calendar, which I think I don't agree to. Because then they have to control by
the weather condition. During the time of summer in Europe and North America, that's the high peak of rainy season in Africa. So football is not going to be played at that time, and the pitches are waterlogged. And we have been asked to change Africa have been asked to change their soccer calendar to suit that of Europe.
No, see, it doesn't work that way. The West like to control. That's just the bottom line. They like to control. Now, the World Cup was in June. It was only shifted because of the weather condition. It didn't mean the football calendar in Southeast Asia or in Asia or Middle East is going to change. No. Just for this World Cup, the date for the World Cup was shifted. That's it. But they go back to the calendar. It doesn't change.
Let me remind our viewers, the last Nations Cup in Cameroon held in January 2022. The European Cup was held in June 2021. Remember that?
Okay.
At the peak of COVID, right? Remember that?
Yeah.
Am I right? In June, summer last year. The European Cup, right?
Okay.
That Italy won. But they almost forced CAF, Confederation of African Football, to cancel the Nations Cup because they fear that COVID will still be in existence in Africa. Meanwhile, Europeans have just had their championship in June. Is it fair? Because even June 2021, there's still COVID. They had their European Championship in England. Remember that?
Yeah,
and
because they like
6 months later, CAF want to have the championship in Cameroon. They told CAF to cancel. Eto and the CAF president said, no, we'll host it. And Cameroon hosted that successfully, right?
Yeah, because see, like you said, the Europeans like to control. They want everything to be about them. Everything
Not
to be
Europeans,
about
the West.
The West. Yeah, no, I say because European League is the top league in the world. When I say Europe, I'm not particularizing any country, but the European League is the top league in the world. And so everything they feel everything should be about them. It should be about what they want that the others should follow. They don't change South America. South America don't change their calendar for them. Why they want to change African calendar? You know, that's not fair.
And
Or
the
the one with
Qataris government even lowered the standard by saying, okay, we don't want beer to be taken in the stadium arena, but in the concourse outside the stadium, beer can be served. But that was not enough. There was serious protest, uh, serious allegations of the fact that Qataris are not friendly. I've not seen anybody that was arrested on the street of Qatar except there are secret police everywhere to make sure that people obey their laws. Is that something that you should criticize them for?
no, okay. Let
Would
me
be
let me
fair
give
to them?
let me give example. Like when we were in high school, they can say every Friday is a Labor Day, right? In Nigeria, for example, back home in Nigeria, every Friday is a Labor Day, or last Friday of the month is a Labor Day. It's once a month. Just one little thing. If it's not going to kill you outside the stadium, you can have your beer. There's beer everywhere. There's alcohol everywhere. Outside the stadium, they give you. But they say if in the stadium we don't want that, there's a reason for that. It don't kill nobody. We can take that.
Let's put them to let's hold everybody to the same. They can't. I'm not sure this attitude of holding everybody to the same standard, even if those standards are alien to the people that around from other parts of the world. I don't think it is fair. Let me give you an example, Pone. In Canada, weed, the one we call Indian hemp in Nigeria, is free. It's legalized. You can smoke it anywhere. Just cross the border to the states. So only some states allow you to smoke weed on the street. It's a federal offense to buy weed in the United States. So if the World Cup comes to in 2026, Canada, Mexico, and the United States are hosting the World Cup, right? So
Okay.
people who come to Canada, they can smoke weed anywhere on the streets. And you cross to the States and you smoke weed, you are a criminal, right?
Yeah.
So if Qatar comes to United States, Qatari citizens come to the United States and say they want to smoke weed, they go to jail. But meanwhile, you don't let Qataris to implement their local laws. I don't think it's fair.
See, that's what that will say. Yeah, it's not fair. You see, you want to play football when you want, for example, if you want to go to Germany or you want to go visit Germany, what do? You go do some little research about Germany, the
Yeah.
do's and don'ts.
Yes.
True or false? Do's
True.
and don'ts. Okay. Now, the Middle East. One thing you don't mess around when you go to the Middle East is with their women. They don't joke around there. There are places you can drink. They have bars, yeah. The people say, no, they have everything. There are bars, there's everything. But there's limitation to everything because of their culture and their way of life. And that must be respected. You go in India now to firsthand see how they live, but respect them. The Qataris cannot change their entire life because they are hosting the World Cup in a month in their country. That's not fair to them. Now, for all the countries that are there, you live your life. Qataris are not saying you can't live your life. No. No matter, even if it's in their country, you live your life. But we have to respect the laws of the Qatari people. It's very important. Just like if it's hosted in France, we respect the laws of France. If you hosted in Nigeria, we respect the laws of Nigeria. If you hosted in the United States.
That's why we love Canada. Canada, the respect for multiculturalism, respect your background is very prevalent here. That's why we love Canada.
That's why it's the best place to live in the world.
You say that again.
Best place to live in the world. We don't fight with nobody. When we fight, we don't fight with anybody. Best place to live in the world.
We respect people's values and culture. And that's the way to live, and so that we have peace around the globe, correct?
Yeah, that's the way to live. You don't challenge. Look, you're a Christian, I respect you for being a Christian. You're a Muslim, you're a Buddhist, I respect you. You're a theist, I respect you. You're whatever you are. That's who you are.
Okay.
It's up to you.
So, by your standards, is Qatar meeting up the expectations? But no, we can't we can't use our standard. By FIFA regulations, I'm sure Qatar has lived up to expectations.
Okay, if you want to put it that way, then they are living beyond expectation.
Right.
I don't want to compare. I don't like when you say, oh, prediction. I don't like to compare both. if you want to go that way, I will swing a little bit and say they are living they are beyond expectation. What they are doing there is beyond expectation. You look
Zero
at
to
this.
10, 0 to 10, 0 barriers minimum, 10 good, exceptional. 0 to 10 by your standard of opponent.
They are 9.
Wow. Thank
I'm
you, opponent.
telling you, I'm impressed. Look at the stadium.
Thank
Look
you,
at the stadium.
opponent.
Look at the organization. Yeah, I'm impressed.
Opponent says 9/10 for Qatar. Our viewers across the globe, I'm sure you are in the World Cup fever, enjoying the talent being displayed across 8 centers in Qatar, where the best of footballers across the globe are showcasing their talent. Today, we looked at uh, the standards, global FIFA standards that was imposed on Qatar, and by opponents reckoning and perhaps BMI. We think Qatar has met all the standards. As a matter of fact, my very good friend, analyst opponent gave them 9/10, which is exceptional. We keep giving you all the bits from Qatar, and I'm sure you are enjoying our presentation. If you do, meet us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Opponent, that's it. As we today's matches, Senegal beat the host country 3-1. Who's the other one? England and USA, they are still playing. I cannot look across the studio. I think as I'm speaking to you, there's still a drawn game. They have not scored a goal. Let me just confirm that before we leave. Right now, the scores remains yes. Full time, US and England 0-0, which is a surprise opponent. Can you imagine that? And then Netherlands and Ecuador 1-1. Senegal beat Ecuador beat Qatar 3-1. Iran shocked Wales 2-0. And that's the result from Qatar. Opponent, thank you very much. It's a World Cup of surprises. I'm sure the dark horse. It looks to me that the dark horse will emerge in this World Cup, or maybe the big boys. The big boys have not started showing up. Maybe we'll start seeing the big boys showing up in the second round.
You asked me 1 to 10, right?
Yes.
And I said 9. So you know why now? You see when there are no upsets, when there are no results like that, people shocking. When you say shocking, I say shocking. When there are no results like no upsets like that, then there's no fun. Yeah. Now the fun just began.
The fun just began.
And there's more to come.
Germany was down, Argentina down. As a matter of fact, US almost shocked England today, and Iran beat Wales 2-0. That's also a shock. Well, we'll see how it goes.
And you got to remember this, that England always find it difficult to beat US. Go check the records.
Maybe because of the affinity.
Yeah, they say, oh, it's because they are what? That's not my problem. But they find it very difficult to beat the United States. It's always difficult and tense.
Just like they find it difficult to beat Ireland too, right?
Yeah.
It's a tough war when time England is playing Ireland. Well, that's about today's presentation, opponent. Thank you very much, and hope to see you tomorrow. For me, Joe Ehizode, signing off and say join us tomorrow for another round of World Cup preview and reviews. Have a good night. Bye-bye.